It is 1 p.m. in Damascus. It's 12 noon in Cape Town. I'm Monita Rajpal. This is World One, live from London. But first, the Syrian regime's nightmare scenario could be starting to unfold. The revolt President Bashar al-Assad tried to stamp out for months is posing a threat to his own safety. Government troops in the capital Damascus are said to have clashed with armed rebels for the fourth day running. Opposition activists say explosions and gunfire have already been heard this morning. CNN's Ivan Watson joins us now from Istanbul with more. Ivan, let's start talking about this, the fighting within the capital. How significant, or how significant is this phase in the conflict? All right, we appear to not have Ivan live, or we will try to get him a little bit later on in the show. Well, as the fighting in Damascus intensifies, Syrian TV appears to be increasing its output of propaganda videos, including this. We have established a contact with Ivan Watson in Istanbul. He joins us. Ivan, I want to ask you about how significant the fighting within the capital is right now in this stage of the conflict.
It's completely challenging the government's authority and its narrative that it has controlled.
Ivan, as you've been speaking there, we're just getting some wire reports there. This is according to Reuters and has not been confirmed by CNN. I should add that they are reporting, Reuters is reporting that Syrian state television is saying that a terrorist explosion struck a national security building in Damascus, and where a meeting with several ministers were attending, and they are now being sent to hospital. Again, this has not been independently confirmed by CNN. Certainly an indication of the conflict moving closer now to the, I guess, within the zone of the presidential palace. That said, as all of this is happening, the UN is still debating whether or not the observer mission should continue, should extend, or expand. The question many would be asking, what more do they need to see?
A very good question. I mean, the UN observer mission has been much maligned, particularly by the opposition.
Thank you, Ivan Watson there in Istanbul. We are getting preliminary results from Libya's first election since the fall of Muammar Gaddafi. A liberal coalition called the National Forces Alliance won the biggest share of parliamentary seats, followed by the Justice and Construction Party, an affiliate of the Muslim Brotherhood. Israel's centrist Kadima party has delivered a blow to the ruling coalition of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Kadima says it will bail out of the government because the Prime Minister refuses to extend the duty of military service to include certain religious students. World Affairs reporter Elise Labott joins us now live from Jerusalem with more details. Elise, what does this mean for Mr. Netanyahu's government?
Well, Monita, now it means that now that one of the largest opposition parties in the coalition has...
As rebels in eastern Congo threaten to engulf the key city of Goma, the humanitarian cost of the violence is only just coming to light. An insurgent group calling itself M23 is fighting with government troops from the Democratic Republic of Congo. This week, the UN Security Council condemned the rebel campaign. CNN's David McKenzie is in Goma and has visited the Mugunga camp, where many have fled to escape the fighting. Right now, ex-Formula One boss Max Mosley is testifying before an inquiry into British press ethics. He is expected to call for the creation of a tribunal to keep journalists in check. Welcome back. He helped to bring down a racist regime and change the world forever. South Africans are celebrating Nelson Mandela's 94th birthday. Family and friends are dropping in on his ancestral village to pay their respects. One of the guests is the former U.S. President, Bill Clinton. Now, we want to touch a little bit more on that 67 minutes, as we heard there, as the granddaughters were talking about. And that is the idea to help celebrate Mandela's birthday. The Nelson Mandela Foundation is calling on all of us to spare 67 minutes of our time helping others. That is 1 minute for every year that Mandela spent in public service. So what could you do? Well, you could help someone get a job by putting together or printing a CV for them, or even helping them with their interview skills. Another idea, well, you could take a bag full of toys to a local hospital that has a children's ward, or you could create a food parcel and give it to someone in need. Even your old books could come in handy. You could donate your old textbooks and books or any other good books to a school library. Now, those are just some of the ideas on the Mandela Day website. There are 63 others, and you can find them all at mandeladay.com. And do let us know if you plan on taking up on that challenge. Tell us what you're doing at cnn.com/iReport. You're watching World One. We also want to bring you an update on the situation in Syria. As we've been mentioning there has been an explosion in one of the government ministerial buildings. That's according to state television there in Syria. Numerous ministers reportedly wounded and have been taken to hospital, some critically wounded. But some of the latest information that we're getting is, according to the Syrian state television, the Syrian defense minister has been killed in the explosion. Again, this is according to Syrian state TV that we're getting in there. Syrian state-run media is reporting that the Syrian defense minister was killed in the suicide bombing at the National Security Building in Damascus. So we are trying to get as much information as we can out of the story. We will bring Ivan Watson live for us up just shortly here on World One. Kim Jong-un seems to be making his mark. There have been several developments in recent days that suggest he is charting a different course for the country from his late father. Paula Hancock explains. We want to bring you more now on a breaking news coming out of Syria. State TV says the Syrian defense minister has been killed in a suicide attack in the center of Damascus. Let's cross straight over to CNN's Ivan Watson. He joins us now live from Istanbul. What other details do we have at this point, Ivan?
Not very many right now, and the main source of the information right now is Syrian State TV.
Thank you very much for that. Of course, Ivan, we will continue to keep checking in with you for other details, additional details, as this breaking story continues to unfold out of Damascus in the news. According to Syrian State TV, the defense minister killed in a suicide bombing in the capital. Every parent wants to give their child the best start in life, but could fathers working in specific professions be running a greater risk of having children with birth defects? Well, according to a medical study in the United States, artists, photographers, mathematicians, hairdressers, and drivers are just some of the careers associated with a greater incidence of birth defects. The study also found some jobs were associated with specific types of defects. For example, gut abnormalities were more common among children of groundskeepers and landscape gardeners. For the offspring of artists, it's more likely to be defects of the eyes, ears, and heart. Well, Dr. Andy Olson, chair of the epidemiology department at the University of North Carolina, joins us now via Skype from Chapel Hill. How did you go about conducting this study? Did you look at birth defects that certain children had and then see what occupations their fathers had, or did you go from the other way around?
So this study is called the National Birth Defects Prevention Study, which is funded by...
What surprised you the most out of all this? Because I ask you that because when I was reading the study, it was interesting to notice that mathematicians or physicists would have more of a likelihood of having or contributing to the birth defects of their unborn children than, say, a soldier or even a firefighter. When we look at firefighters, what about smoke inhalation?
Right, and it's...
You're watching World One, live from London. French football giants Paris Saint-Germain have been on a raid to Italy for some world-class players. The latest reportedly coming on Tuesday. Here's Amanda Davis with all the details of that.
Hi, yeah, if people didn't take Paris Saint-Germain seriously, you think they will now. They've been certainly splashing the cash and raiding across Europe in the last couple of seasons, and it looks like just a medical now stands in the way. So you could put your money on pretty much anyone. Yeah. Make it interesting.
We're going to need one of those CNN jackets, I think, for our Olympic coverage coming up starting next Friday.
I'm live from Monday at the Olympic
Monday, so you're going to need it before me.
Yeah.
All right, Amanda, thank you very much for that. And stay with us here on World One. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching World One live from London. We want to keep you updated on breaking news out of Syria. Syrian state-run television is saying that the country's defense minister has been killed in a suicide attack in the center of Damascus. It reportedly happened while ministers were meeting at a national security building, government building. We want to take a moment now, switch gears, and take a look at what people are talking about on the web. Inactivity is as bad as smoking. That's what doctors are saying in a series of research papers featured in the medical journal The Lancet. They say physical inactivity kills around 5 million people every year. Inactivity is described in the report as failing to do 30 minutes of moderate physical activity 5 times a week. Also a big talking point and one of the top Google searches, interestingly enough. Marissa Mayer, the new CEO of the internet company Yahoo, has gotten straight to work tweeting about the company. Her appointment and the announcement that she's pregnant has put a spotlight on the question of how to get the right work-life balance. Also getting plenty of attention on the web, Nelson Mandela, the former South African president, is 94 years old today. One Twitter user put it like this: Mandela made South Africa trend worldwide long before Twitter. Also getting a lot of attention, and not just social media sites, is the expanding drought in the United States. Mari Ramos joins us now with more on that from the CNN World Weather Center. Mari.
Yeah, it's turning out to be a pretty serious situation. We've been talking about this, Monita, for a long time here at CNN World.
All right, Mari, thank you very much. You're watching World One live from London. I'm Monita Rajpal. Thank you for joining us. Stay with us here on CNN. We will continue to update you on the blast in Damascus in just a couple of minutes.